Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Isn't That Rich podcast. Today we are talking with our very own Lexi Cavins about her 5-week mentorship program that she took on at Farmers State Bank. This was a new program that Christine Hankins and a couple of other people kind of enacted for our bank so that people could go through it and see everything that everybody does at the bank to see, you know, what career they might want to go into one day. So welcome on, Lexi. Yeah. We can't wait to hear about everything.
Thank you. It was so exciting, and I learned so much within the 5 weeks, so I'm excited to talk about it.
Were you so excited that you were the first one to be picked? Because you had to apply for this, right?
Yes. So you had to send in a little thing explaining why you would like to go through the mentorship program. And then they got to choose who got to be the guinea pig.
So you're the guinea
pig.
So
I was the guinea pig. Yes, it was awesome.
All right. So can you tell us about your initial expectations going into this mentorship program?
Yeah. So since it was the first time, obviously I wasn't exactly sure what to expect. But for myself, I was just excited to go through and learn all the different departments. I feel like, I know speaking for myself, it's easy to get caught up in like your own little bubble of like what you do.
For sure.
And not really, you know, so much what everybody else does. And I feel like everybody does so much more than you think. So I was just excited to see what everybody did, but also kind of see if there was anything that was interesting to me that maybe I would want to work towards, you know, in the future.
Mm-hmm. Love that. So what was like the biggest surprise for you in the department that you saw?
All of it.
Oh, really?
I feel like
she's like, these people actually work. Can you
like,
believe
they
that?
actually do it.
Yeah. After each day, I was like, holy cow, so much information. But it was honestly like, I feel like I didn't have a lot of knowledge of each department. I feel like lending was a huge thing that I was like, wow. I think for me, one of the departments that stuck out the most was the SBA department. I feel like that was the one I probably knew the least about. Because, you know, that's over in operations. And I feel like, what does SBA do? I knew they did something with lending, but after I sat with both of them for a day, I was like, holy cow. Like there is so much that they do that I didn't know about. And so many different types of loans that it blew my mind, because I feel like that's not something that we deal with every day. It's like what that department specializes in. So to see what they did, I was like, holy cow.
I love that.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite department that you were able to shadow? I know you love everybody, and I know you loved marketing a lot.
We obviously know marketing department's the best.
And this is technically part of her mentorship, is being on this podcast.
Of course. You guys are the best. I love everyone. Everyone is amazing at what they do. But the department, the position that I ended up liking the most is not at all what I thought that I would. Like going into it, I had no idea, but there were definitely different departments I was curious about. Lending, I think, was one of them, because for me now, like I love customer interaction on the deposit side. Is that where I see myself forever? No. But like lending, you still get that kind of personal relationship with your customers. But I ended up liking a position. Anna, she's bank operations. And I did not at all I had no idea what she did. And after I sat with her twice. After I saw everything she did, I was like, holy cow, she does a lot, but it was all really interesting to me. So she deals a lot with like numbers and balancing and reporting and things like that. But if something's off, she has to figure out where it's at. And I kind of like that, like problem solving, I guess. And like, she's just constantly busy. And I loved that. So
makes the day go
I think
faster.
that was probably my favorite, although there were definitely a lot that I really loved.
Yeah. And that's what the point of this mentorship program is that you may have thought you would have liked lending, and you probably still do, but you would have never known that. Because like, who's going to go shadow Anna in the back?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. That was definitely interesting.
Really cool.
For me, for sure.
That's great. So it's very beneficial.
Love it. So what department do you feel like was the most difficult to really understand and wrap your head around?
I would say the SBA department.
But
also I think one of the biggest differences that I learned between departments was in lending. I thought going into it that commercial lending had like way more stuff involved than mortgage lending, and it's the opposite. So like on my schedule that Christine made, I had 2 days with commercial lenders, but I had a whole week with the mortgage department. And I was like I thought that was interesting because to me, I think with commercial lending, you know, it's a lot bigger loans.
Right.
They're business entities. I would think there would be a lot more involved with it. And there's not. It's actually mortgage lending. Like there's lists and lists and lists of stuff required. I think you saw a little bit of that with John on the podcast, like all the stuff required for mortgage lending. But that was the biggest takeaway for me. I was like, holy cow, there is so much more involved with that than commercial. And I did not think that at all.
Yeah, we just got off of the podcast with Mike Hopkins about commercial lending, and I didn't feel like there was a lot that you actually needed to go secure a business loan.
Yeah.
I mean, there's things obviously, but the mortgages are a little bit more intricate. So
they are, for sure.
Do you think if you had to go be a mortgage lender or a commercial lender, which one would you be?
I think commercial because
she's like easier work. No, well, no, I'm just kidding. The whole commercial lending department's like mad at me today.
I think the thing that I liked the most about commercial lending was just getting to go out and visit those business customers. Like with mortgage lending, it's exciting because they get to help people like buying a house and building a house and stuff. And a lot of time it is first-time home buyers, and that is really exciting. But with commercial lending, like I went with Cindy and Mike, but with Cindy, we got to go visit one of her customers at a house that she was remodeling and like got to see all that process and just talk about life, but also like how her project was going with that. And I loved that. Like you're building that personal relationship, but you're also going and visiting the project that you're helping them with. I thought that was really neat.
Love that. So obviously going through the program, you're the first one, the guinea pig. What are some changes you would make to the mentorship program for maybe future participants?
Yeah. Well, I definitely think that anybody going through it needs to take notes because that's what I did after each person. I like had to write down what we went over because if I try to go over all of that right now at the end after 5 weeks, I'm like, there's so much that I learned and it's all packed into that short amount of time. Take notes, ask as many questions as you possibly can and want to about each department because that's really how you're going to learn about it. Yeah. I think some people I got to spend multiple days with. Some people I only was with for just a couple hours. But I think the biggest thing was just them letting me observe what they did. I think one of the things that I would tell them to continue to do, the thing that stuck out to me the most was when I sat with John Streeter because he, on a Thursday that I was with him, he took me through everything that he normally would. So I attended loan committee with him. I attended the BNI meeting that he goes to network, like around there. I went to a loan closing with him. Like I got to actually see things that he does.
You went all the way through it.
And I feel like that makes a big difference rather him just saying, hey, this is what I do. This is what I do. He got to actually take me with him on that. So that was really neat. And I told him, I was like, I think that's great to continue on. Or there's different departments where they have more tasks to do, like at the beginning of the month, the end of the month. So like scheduling out those days with the person. That way they can actually see everything in full that you do.
So were some departments having you do parts of their job and then others were just letting you watch?
Yeah. So there were some that just kind of told me what they did and that was it. And I was like, that's great. But like, I don't know what that really looks like. And then some, yes, I sat in the seat and they told me what to do and I did it. So a little bit of both.
Do you feel like you got more out of probably doing stuff?
I'm a hands-on learner, I think. So actually doing it for me, I learn more than just somebody telling me. So,
well, and I think if I had a recommendation for the mentorship program, I'd say you got a lot of like collateral as to what you were supposed to do and what your job was. But we were just kind of told Lexi's coming to sit with you that day. And I think it was just up to our discretion whether we were going to let you do stuff or just talk to you about it or how we were going to teach you. So I think, and I feel like we were pretty prepared, but just maybe people now that she's gone through it, they're like, I want to do things differently.
Yeah.
Or if like you explain something for an hour and then you're sitting there the rest of the day and you feel like I don't do anything because I told Lexi everything I did in an hour, but that's not true.
Yeah. Yep. I think so for sure. And just letting them observe too. Like don't feel like you have to just spew out everything that you do. Like just letting me observe what you actually do or the next person observes, just so that they can watch. Because you're really not teaching them to do your job. You're just kind of showing them what you do on a day-to-day basis so that they have an idea if that's something that would be interesting to them.
A day in the life.
A day in the
So
life.
I
really
think
what they're
sometimes
doing.
it can be a little too detailed.
Right. I feel like there was kind of a mix. Some people were very detailed and some people were just
Yeah.
like, I do this and that's it. Like, you know what I mean?
And you're
Yeah.
like, what does
So
that
I
look
feel
like?
like, because I feel like some, like you said, a lot of them didn't know really what they were supposed to be showing me or what they were supposed to be doing. So it was kind of just like, I wrote this up, like, we're going to go over this, but it kind of went a lot faster than some people thought. So I don't know. It was really good being the first time, but I think that now people saw what it was like. It'll help moving forward with other people that go through it. And then you can guys tweak like what you guys do in your department, what you want to show people and all of that. So yeah.
Love that.
I feel like we kept saying our department was so random. We're like, we do different stuff every single day. So we were
Right.
trying to figure out, which we have like a big master list of all the things we do, but it was just kind of funny trying to explain that with you. How has this experience made you look at Farmers State Bank differently within your career? Like, are you, so thankful that they did this for you? I'm like value pushing on her. I'm like, are you so thankful Farmers State Bank made you do this? You know what I'm saying, though?
I am. Whenever Christine first brought the idea up, she kind of just briefly talked about it in the front line. And I know me personally, I was so excited because obviously I love my job and I love working here. But, we're always hiring for the front line. And like something that Christine always talks about that Farmers is really big in that I love is pushing people up, like not hiring from without, but like hiring for the front line. And then they move up from there. And she always says like, you want your team to be better than you are so that if opportunities do come, you're able to take those and your team, can still operate without you or like somebody can fulfill your position. So I love that Farmers chose to do this because I feel like it's an experience for people to see, there are other opportunities within the bank. Maybe somebody's not particularly like super happy in the position that they do, but they love the company. Like you wouldn't want to lose them because of that. They can see the options that they have. And like, that's something that they can work towards as a goal if a position opens up, because you never know. So I love it. I think it's amazing.
Good.
I think every company should do it.
Yeah. I think we work for like one of the best places ever because this is just a new thing. It was already great anyway, and this is just a new thing that we're doing that because we want people to stay here.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't realize that when they're applying for a job here, but we want, and it's such an investment to hire somebody. It costs so much money. It takes so much time to train people. And so we want people to stay at our company.
Yeah. I think it's amazing.
And to find their place in our company. So it might, like what you said, it might not be the front line, but you might start there and oh my gosh, you're going to learn so much.
Yeah. Everybody needs to start in the front line because you really do. You see everything that, like every single situation from lending to deposit side, like you see all of it in the front line. You learn so much. But I feel like with this program, if somebody has an idea of like a position that they want to fulfill and they just blindly go into it, they might not end up liking it. So through this, they're able to see, hey, this is something I'm really interested in. And they sit with them and they're like, actually, maybe not. Like maybe I like this better. And they wouldn't have known that if they didn't get the chance to actually see what that department involved. So
yeah. And I think there's even times we've done it here where you don't even have to go through the full mentorship program, but you can just ask. I think Mitchell one time went and sat with compliance because he was really interested in it. And we paid him and allowed him to go do that for a couple of days. And he found out that wasn't his gig, but like, thankfully we let him do that. And I just think that's so great.
Yeah. I used that the entire time because Mitchell was so like, I want compliance. Like that's exactly what I want to do. And then shadowed e-banking and ended up not liking compliance at all and loving e-banking, but he wouldn't have known that if he didn't sit with them. So I think it's great for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a mentorship program is like really interesting for businesses that have a lot of different facets. You know, I think a lot of businesses don't have stuff like that, but it can kind of, help people know where they want to be and what they want to do and not want to do and how they can grow within that company too. I think that's super important as well.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah.
Did you find one moment, or I guess you could just say moment within your mentorship program that was like really rewarding or impactful to you or really stood out to you?
Yeah, I think for me, and I kind of touched on this a little bit, was when I was with the lending department. I'm going to use commercial and mortgage. That's where I got to go out with them and see customers, and I love that. But just seeing how the relationships are built and how it flows into both parties. So like going to lunch, for example, with a realtor, you're building that personal relationship with them, but also you're kind of helping each other out, like in terms of referrals and stuff. Mm-hmm. And that was just like a full circle moment to me, because in the BNI meeting that I attended with John, like there were people from so many different businesses around here that meet once a week. And one of the biggest things they talk about is referrals. So they're referring people to you, and those people are you're referring people to them. So you're helping each other out, but you're also having the personal relationships. And I just think that's amazing, because it's not just like business related, like you're building those meaningful conversations with people, but it's also benefiting you. Mm-hmm. So really that was the biggest thing to me. I was like, that is so cool that he gets to go do this every week.
That's cool. Yeah. So what advice would you give to someone who's going to go into the mentorship program?
It's amazing. It's so fun, but there is a lot of information that you learn in a very short amount of time. So it might be overwhelming to some, but like I said, just keep notes. I mean, I had every single person that I was going to be with every day, and I just wrote down like kind of a brief description of like their job and what they cover, so that even I could look back myself and be like, oh yeah, I did this with this person. I did really like that, or I didn't really like that. And I guess just kind of keep notes, but you learn so much. And I would just say, keep an open mind. Like, don't go into it as, I'm so interested in so-and-so's job. Like, this is what I want to do. And you disregard the rest. Like, be open to learning what each person does, because it also helps me do my job better now. I feel like I know what everybody does within the bank, so I can help better refer our customers to people if they have questions about certain things that I might not have known about before.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, is like, does this experience now help you do your job better? Which you just answered that. So I think that's great.
Absolutely.
Because I mean, there's so many times people call, even about insurance. You went through insurance too.
I did. Yep. I went there for a day, and I kind of got to sit with a couple of them just to see the different things that they did there. But I don't personally know a lot about insurance. And I know it's not something obviously I would talk about with a customer, but now I know who to refer people to if, I do get a question about that.
Yeah. Because people call the bank about it all the time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so if we, we don't just want to blindly like put somebody to somebody if that's not who can help them. So it definitely helps with that a lot.
So now you're kind of like this little bridge between the insurance agency and the bank.
A little bit. I know who you can talk to. I know who can help you with that.
Everyone's going to be like, Lexi, help me with this now. She's the new CEO.
No.
She did shadow the CEO. Tell us about the CEO.
Oh, Charlie.
Which I think that's great that you even got to shadow executives though too. Yeah. I mean, you got to shadow literally every single person.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest things too, is like, other places or people in college or high school can do like internships, but it's usually for a specific job or like towards their degree that they have. So it's kind of more narrowed down. This is so broad that like I got to shadow people on the deposit side, the lending side, the CEO, like operations, every single department. So it wasn't just narrowed down to one specific thing. It was so broad. So that was eye-opening. I'm like, I'm getting to see what everybody does every single day.
Yeah. I think it's nice too that we're just kind of putting this out there, because I think, and I'm speaking for me, when I thought of banking before I worked in banking, I didn't realize there were so many job opportunities. Yeah. And there's so many different departments and so many different places you can work. Like I just thought, oh, you're going to be a teller or a bank president. I think that's all I thought. Worked at a bank. Like it's just this or that.
Yeah.
And so many different departments.
It is.
So many different jobs.
So cool to see. Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
Makes me want to go through it now.
I think we can apply. Let's both apply, Jared.
I'll cover marketing like no, I'm just
Yeah, yeah.
You probably should go through it. Help us.
I think everybody should get to go through it. Maybe you could do like a fast, like 1 week.
Fast track. Yeah.
We're like making all these recommendations to the mentorship program. Well, it's great. Lexi, is there anything else you want to leave with our listeners or to maybe some of our coworkers? Anything else you want to say?
I think I'm so excited to have gotten to go through this. And I'm so excited for anybody who gets to go through this next, because it really is amazing to see what everybody does. Like I said, I feel like sometimes I get stuck in my bubble where I'm just doing my own stuff that I forget, what everybody else is doing. Yeah. So it's so neat to actually see everything, and it helps me do my job better. And then it in turn will help our customers. And I'm just excited for anybody else who gets to go through it.
Well, thank you, Lexi, so much for being on with us today. And thank you for listening to another episode of the Isn't That Rich podcast. We will see you next week. So, Jill, where do we go from here?
Be sure to check out our show notes for this episode, and also be sure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our newsletter. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.